Crouse.
I was really surprised at how frank it is. I've read a lot of these books. I have read books by people, and they give you a little bit of dirt from backstage. They tell you how great their life is, and away you go. This was really kind of eye-opening for me. What was it that prompted you to put down in book form sort of, things that a lot of people might not have shared in this sort of venue?
I don't know. I'd never read one before, so I didn't know what was expected. And I just wrote about my life, I mean, I didn't see the point in leaving holes in it, because everything I've done, I've learned from it, I hope. So I put it all down.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong.
No, I don't think so. No, this book, from the opening paragraphs, it feels different than these other books that you read. I mean, it starts with a very kind of shocking kind of episode from your life, and when a book starts with a suicide attempt, you think, okay, well, there's no door here that's not going to get opened. So I guess that's the thing. Was reliving all of this stuff, which I assume you have to do as you're putting it all down on paper, was reliving this difficult or traumatic, or was it cathartic for you?
It was actually, once I decided to do it, I looked forward to writing every day. Right. Yeah, I look forward to it. And it was cathartic at times and helped me kind of see a through line to certain parts of my life. So it was actually a very enjoyable experience. Once it was done, I was kind of nervous about it coming out, but the writing of it was fun, and I didn't use a ghostwriter. I wrote it myself, so I think that's why it sounds different too, because I have a voice, which my publisher realized and said, you have to write it yourself.
What were the nuts and bolts of it? How long did it take to write? What was your process? Would you get up at the same? I know a lot of writers, and myself included, I have certain hours of the day that I like to write. So, what was your process?
Pretty free form, actually. I got up and started it at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I said, "Well, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well." The first one, the lines are always the hardest, so I got up and just started typing, and then I wrote about 30,000 words while I was doing a record. Actually, I have a studio, and I was doing Christmas record, I think, lullaby record or something, and for my songs I'd written for my sons a long, long time ago, and I re-recorded them over Christmas. And so I'd go in there and work on those, and then come back and work on the thing and on the computer, and it took about 6 months with rewrites.
Right.
And
that's fast.
Yeah,
that's very fast.
Well, I wrote a lot. I worked with Stacy, my publisher and editor, and I'd send her, I don't know, 10, 15 pages a day, and she'd, put her comments and send them back, and then I'd write more, and then once we were happy with that, I'd write more, and then
move on to the next phase.
Yeah,
it's very detailed. The book has a lot of detail. You name most of the names. Don't name all the names. You name a lot of names.
Went through the bank of lawyers, and a couple of them they said pull these names because they're still alive and still working. So.
Right. But there's a lot of names. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of recollection here. That did you keep diaries, or is this stuff? No.
No, we all retain everything. Yeah. I have one of the worst short-term memories of all time, and I was concerned how that there would be giant gaps in it that I just couldn't remember. But as I started writing, and I'd sleep, and it would come forward. You never forget anything. I truly believe you just file it further and further back, right. And I was amazed at how I did remember every section, every change, every move. A couple of times I talked to my mom about certain things, about dates, and I went online a couple of times to make sure I was correct in dates of when things happened to me and that kind of thing. But Stacy, my publisher, has since seen things from people and past stuff that's been written about me, and seen that I was very accurate in my memory.
I like how it's all very much written in the present tense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good, because
I don't know how to do this. And
they were very unsure about that, and I said I want to write it in the present tense, and they were going, I don't know, but they finally relented after I wrote a bunch and said, yeah.
Well, at first it threw me. At first, in the first chapter or so, I was kind of like, is it today that he's talking? Like, as I sit here writing today that he's talking? And then as you realize, as you go through, you realize, oh, no, he's very much in the moment of exactly what he's talking about. And it works. I think it works really nicely. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I felt it was the right way to go because that's how I was remembering it, you know.
Right. Do you think that never having read one of these before, I guess there's what's the difference? The opposite of an influence. You know, there's no influence in this. So, I mean, was that, I guess, helpful? I mean, my initial reaction would, I think, be to go and pick up a stack of them, have a look through, see what everybody else is doing, and then try and mold it around that. But I guess...
Yeah, I don't read them generally, and I've read a couple but past. But I've just read all my life, and I thought, a story about my life should be a story about my life. I didn't, everyone's life is so different. I didn't want to purposely copy someone's, path in their book. I mean, I wanted it to be mine and original. So I guess, I just kind of launched into it and started getting positive feedback from the publishers. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm on the right track here.
There's stories here that I think, when you go to Vietnam, that was, again, completely unexpected and for me, unknown part of your career. But going there, there was a death, I think we can say. I don't want to give anything much away, but I think it's hard to. But there are elements in here that I wonder how difficult it was to write about them.
That was very difficult because I still have issues with that because it was, I'm the guy that lifts bees out of the swimming pool if I think they're drowning, so it was very caught up in the spirit of war, which it very much was because we bunked with the GIs, we traveled with the GIs, the only other people we saw other than the GIs were the local hookers and the local kid that sold us dope, So we very much lived in their world and adopted their mentality. And it's the mentality, it was the mentality of war, even though we weren't going out every day like them through the jungles. We were getting shot at and rocketed and mortared and in danger, fear of our lives, especially not having any defensive weapons.
And hardly any clothes. I mean, you were giving away things, and you had virtually nothing over there.
Yeah. I was scared pretty much 24/7.
Yeah. When writing about something like that, how do you think about how your fans will react, how your family will react, or was it just more important to you just to sort of bare bones, just put it all down?
Yeah, writing comes first. Yeah. I mean, I am first a writer, and I've always known that, and the story is the most important thing. Obviously, I'm not going to hurt. There were things that would hurt people. Like my wife telling about all the whole sexual stuff. Yeah. She knows about all that. Right. That's why she doesn't want to read it because she says I've already lived it. I don't need to. And we dealt with that head on, both of us, and decided we were better together than we were apart. But no, the story is first because that's otherwise why write? I mean, really. Same with songs. I mean, I have said things in songs and couched them in certain ways, but if I revealed what they were truly about, it would, So I've always tried to write honestly, and I think that's important. And you writing fiction, you have to be honest too. There has to be an honesty in it. Thank you. Otherwise, it comes off as bullshit.
Well, I think
Richard Crouse.